Hi, welcome again to Anime Sib's Overanalysis. Today I'll discuss a theory for Higurashi Go on whether or not Satoko is the mastermind behind all the events in the new series. A quick spoiler warning again, I will cover all the events of the original Higurashi series, as well as episodes 1 through 7 of Higurashi Go. As we all know, the original mastermind of Higurashi series is Mio Takano, and the organization Tokyo who is controlling everything. However, from what we see in Higurashi Go, it seems unlikely that they'll follow the same pattern and will provide some kind of a twist. This is where the theory of Satoko being the mastermind comes into play. Ever since the OP was revealed in episode 2 of Higurashi Go, there were a lot of speculations on who this ominous looking character was. One thing that we know is that the clothes that this person is wearing seems to be the uniform for St. Lukia's Academy, which is similar to the one that grown-up Rika is also wearing. Many were speculating this to be a young Takano or a grown-up Satoko, and I'm more and more leaning towards the latter. I mean, look at the hair and the outline, it just reminds you of Satoko. A major evidence for this was revealed in an interview with author Rikishi and the Higurashi Go anime director by Funimation. In the interview, the director mentions that Rika is in high school, and people are wondering about Satoko as well, but proceeds to say that he cannot talk about it yet. Then he adds that people should look into the OP for clues. Of course, this could just be to throw people off, but they mentioned the opening several times in this interview, and it seems pretty clear that they put a lot of time and effort into creating the OP. Going back to this picture, given what we have said, it seems quite likely that this is Satoko, since she is wearing the same uniform as Rika, who is also a high schooler. Then in the same interview, a question is asked about the importance of Rika in the anime. As we all know, the author describes Rika as the protagonist of the original story, and that she fully enters the spotlight at the turning point in the story. But then he continues to say that the spotlight is already on Rika from the beginning in the new story, so either the story is going to move really fast or that the turning point is going to be different. This seems to imply that there is some major plot twist coming in the new series, and the one who gets the spotlight will be different at the turning point. And it could very well be Satoko if she is indeed the mastermind behind the events in the Higurashi Go. Another piece of evidence that was discussed in the Japanese community was the interview they had with Satoko's voice actor, where they asked the question, how is acting for a character in Higurashi after a long time? To which she replies, acting as Satoko doesn't feel like a long time ago, but maybe, I can't say anymore. It implies there is something more going on. Again, this could be nothing, but it is another hint there is something more going on. Now moving on to the actual anime, there are strange parts right from the OP itself. The OP starts with the main cast's signature weapons. The only difference is Satoko, who has a teddy bear instead of a weapon. Of course, you could say it is because she doesn't have a signature weapon in the original series, but it is strange regardless. Then the shot changes to Rika and Satoko in the classroom facing away from each other, with the bear in between them. This type of a scene is usually used to portray a rift between characters, and the bear in this case could represent Satoshi, Satoko's brother. Then it is followed by another shot of them facing away from each other. Finally, near the end of the OP, there's an outline of this mysterious figure who clearly looks like the mastermind. There are many speculations that this is Featherine from Umineko, and I think I agree with this. However, I'm hoping that the author doesn't try to mix Umineko with Higurashi, and if it isn't Featherine, it could be an outline of Satoko's short hair. Then in episode 1 during the club joining scene, Satoko wins at the game and declares, "Victory is mine today, Rika." And it of course means victory in the game, but it could also imply the victory in the loop if Satoko was indeed looping. Soon after, there's a scene where Rena says that she is going to the nurse's office since she is feeling a little tired. Satoko notices this and follows her out, saying that she is going to wash her face. There is a speculation that Satoko followed Rena and told her something that eventually drove Rena mad in the Onidamashi arc. There is a similar scene in episode 5 in Watadamashi arc, where only Mion and Satoko are walking out together, where something similar could have happened. This is particularly interesting because it is actually one of the few differences from the original Watanagashi arc, where in the original the order at which the members finish their games is Mion, Rena, Satoko, Rika, as opposed to Satoko, Mion, Rena, Rika, allowing Satoko to leave together with Mion. However, this scene actually doesn't happen in the manga version, so it could just be a coincidence. Then there are several scenes where Satoko seems to interrupt Rika in the middle of the conversation, one of which is in episode 5 where she drags Rika away, and another in the famous scene in episode 7 while Rika is blaming everything on Keiichi. There are also theories regarding this scene where some people are speculating that Rika isn't carrying the memories from each loop in this new series. People believe that the role has gone to Satoko, and Rika only has memories from the end of the Masurabashi arc. This is because what Rika says to Keiichi here doesn't make much sense if we were to assume that she is coming straight from the Onidamashi arc. In the original, we always see Tomitake and Takano as reported to be dead instead of missing. However, even though this happened twice in a row, Rika declares them dead here without much thinking. It also seems out of character for Rika to give up this easily after what happened in the ending of Onidamashi, especially in the manga version where she declares that she can overcome this new challenge with her friends. If this really were the right next loop, there seems to be quite a stark contrast in their attitude. Another interesting thing to note is the total lack of mention of Satoshi in the new series. Satoshi was always a driving plot in the mystery and paranoia in the original, and should have been mentioned several times by now in the story. However, even when characters describe the events of the murders that happened during the Watanagashi festival, his name is not mentioned. We know that Satoshi does exist, since his name is seen in the bat during the OP, so this seems very intentional. I believe they're intentionally hiding it for some kind of a big reveal, and it could have to do with Satoko being the mastermind. A few other minor differences are also seen in episode 7, where Satoko is missing after the Watanagashi festival. In the original, Satoko also joins late because she gets lost, but still manages to join. But in the new series, she is missing completely, which is pretty suspicious. And when the village head is declared missing, we see everyone's concerned expression, but only Satoko's face is blocked by the camera angle. In the original, she was shocked at the news and started acting in weird ways, but in the new series she doesn't seem fazed at all. And here are a couple of shots from the episode 8 preview, and they also contain some scenes of Satoko with a pretty suspicious facial expression. And in the ED we have a shot of all the club members, and only Satoko seems to be looking towards the viewer in a suspicious way. Finally, a major difference is shown in episode 7, where the statue of Oyashiro-sama is shown. In the original, we see that the arm is broken off. This happens due to Satoko playing around the shrine when she was younger, and she believes it to be the cause of all her misfortunes that happened afterwards. However, in the new anime, the arm part is intact, while the headed part is broken instead. There is some major speculation on the meaning of this scene, but if we were to assume that Satoko has somehow looped back into the past, we could assume that she avoided this incident from happening. Many have noticed there's a slot below the head of Oyashiro-sama's statue, and are speculating they contained Onigari no Ryu, which is a sword that was used to kill Hanyu. If this were actually the case, then this scene in the opening sequence of someone picking up what looks like a fragment could actually be the sword instead. And it's possible that Satoko used this to eliminate the presence of Hanyu, and that would explain her lack of presence. Looking at all the details like this makes Satoko certainly look suspicious. However, most of this could just be explained away as coincidence or as me overanalyzing the detail. And one major argument against Satoko being the mastermind would be the theme of the original Higurashi series. But the central theme was the unity and trust between friends to overcome the trials, and making Satoko the mastermind in the new series would seem to go against the theme. If my theory is true though, I do have another theory that would explain this issue as well, which will be coming in the next part. Anyway, that's it for this theory. I would like to apologize for the late second video. I just had a lot of things going at work, and due to the differences I noticed in the manga versus anime, I had to make some updates to my theory, and now I'm waiting for Watadamashi arc to end to make further speculations, so stay tuned for that. I also have a few video ideas for Japan Overanalysis, first of which will cover the question, why is Shinkansen so expensive? So please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys want to see in the comments below. Thanks, bye.